So last week, I made a video talking about the NASCAR Xfinity Series and discussed who is safe and who is not. And so in this video, I decided that I'm going to be taking a look at the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and doing the exact same thing. Taking a look at the drivers who have wins and don't need to worry until the playoffs start. The drivers that are above the cutoff and have enough of a points cushion and maybe just need to play it a little bit conservative until then. And the drivers that are below the cutoff and probably should get a tad bit worried as we get deeper and deeper into the summer. So starting off, let's take a look at the drivers that have a win. Zane Smith has 3 wins at Daytona, COTA, and Kansas. John Hunter Nemechek has a win at Darlington. Ben Rhodes has a win at Bristol Dirt. Chandler Smith has a win at Las Vegas. And Stuart Friesen is the most recent eligible driver to have won, with his win coming at Texas Motor Speedway a while back. Below these drivers is where things get a little bit interesting. Ty Majeski is 89 points above the cutoff line, so it's going to take a lot for Ty Majeski to be out of playoff contention. In fact, it's probably going to take a summer collapse for Ty Majeski to be out of contention, and with the way things are going right now, I don't see that happening. With 2 poles, 4 top 5s, and 6 top 10s, Ty Majeski has had a monstrous season and has honestly exceeded the expectations that I had for him. He's currently the best driver to have not won a race and is tracking to be the next eligible points-paying driver to win a Truck Series race. So I think Ty Majeski is in a very, very good position, and as long as he keeps up his consistency, I think Ty Majeski is going to be in a good spot come the playoff time and is probably going to be in a bit of a championship catbird seat come playoff time. Below him is Christian Eckes, who is 87 points above the cutoff. Eckes has 5 top 5s and 6 top 10s, but doesn't have any poles to show for, which means that he doesn't really have the speed, but he has good execution, which means that he is probably going to win at a track where you least expect him to win, and is going to win in situations where you least expect him to capitalize. Christian Eckes nearly won a race at Texas and looks to probably get a win sometime in the summer. Eckes has shown speed at 1.5 miles, so I think that's going to be his strong suit moving forward. Below both of these drivers, you have Carson Hocevar, who is 63 points above the cutoff. Hocevar has 3 top 5s and 5 top 10s and 0 poles. Hocevar's win is coming, and he's just asking to get that win. He's had nothing but heartache since the beginning of the 2022 season, and Charlotte Motor Speedway was probably the biggest one of them all. At Charlotte, he dominated that race. He had the best truck and was tracking to get a win. And had that caution not happened, and had he not made a little bit of a mistake coming out of 4 on that restart, he probably could have gotten the win. Nice Motorsports as a whole had a really good package for Charlotte. I mean, his teammate, Ross Chastain, ended up winning that race. Hocevar's win will be coming, and it will come soon. It'll come sometime this year. I don't think he's going to not win a race, but as long as he keeps up this consistency, he'll be fine. Obviously, he should go out there and should try and win a race, but he should also be a little bit more methodical about how he's going about things. At Charlotte Motor Speedway, he got a little too aggressive and lost a lot of crucial points. If you're not going to win the race, at least finish second. He ended up finishing 16th, and that's a lot of points of loss where he probably shouldn't have lost those points. So he should try and go out there and he should try and get the win, but he should also be a little bit more methodical and not just take himself and take other drivers out of contention. That's really my only criticism with Carson Hocevar thus far this year. I know he wants to try to win a race, and I know it's coming soon, and I know it's aggravating that he's not won a race, but he really needs to reel that all in and tone it down a little bit if he wants to go out there and really mount a championship charge. At 42 points above the cutoff is Grant Enfinger. Enfinger has had a big turnaround since the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the season, Enfinger didn't look like he was even going to make the playoffs, let alone a championship charge, which is actually what I had for Grant Enfinger this 2022 season. And it might happen. I mean, stranger things have happened in Truck Series history in the past. I mean, Matt Crafton won the title with 0 wins. Enfinger has 3 top 5s and 6 top 10s and has really turned the ship around. He has more top 10s than Carson Hocevar and has the same number of top 5s. And Hocevar has probably been running up front more than Grant Enfinger has. So if Enfinger keeps this up, he is going to be in a pretty good position come playoff time and is probably going to be in the playoffs. So Enfinger just needs to not make any mistakes and keep on doing what he's doing, and he'll be fine. So I mentioned Matt Crafton, and where is he? Well, he is 25 points above the cutoff, and is the last driver tentatively locked in. With 1 top 5 and 6 top 10s, it's been a lackluster season across the board for Crafton. Normally, we're used to him being a kind of 4th to 8th place driver on a given weekend, but he's kind of been a 9th to 13th place driver. And as long as he makes the playoffs, I think he'll be fine. But right now, it's looking pretty grim for Matt Crafton, and it's looking like he might not make the playoffs. If Crafton makes any slip up, and if he makes any mistake from now until the playoffs begin, Matt Crafton is in a precarious situation. I think once he gets into the playoffs, I don't think he's going to win the championship. I don't even think he's going to make it past the first round at this rate. But that's not his worry right now. His worry is just being there and being in contention. And the best way he can salvage a season as bad as this is to try and make it into the playoffs. Right now, there are a lot of hungry drivers who have never even made the playoffs in their entire careers. And the best way to bolster their careers is to make the playoffs. And who are these drivers? Well, let's talk about them. The first driver that's underneath the playoff cutoff is Tanner Gray, who's obviously 25 points above the cutoff. With 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s, Tanner Gray has had a massive improvement over his 2021 season, over his entire career. It's a meteorical rise, to say the least, and I did not expect Tanner Gray to be nearly this good. Tanner Gray has had an amazing start to the 2022 season and is tracking to make the playoffs. And like I said, the best way he can bolster his career is by making the playoffs. I mean, Ford currently is in a bit of a developmental nightmare. They don't really have a whole lot of places to put their development drivers. And right now, their Xfinity team is just kind of on the verge of not really even working. You've got Riley Herbst in that pipeline. And if Tanner Gray shows that he could be a solidified driver and could be a driver that Ford wants for the future, he could get an Xfinity ride and potentially could have a Cup ride. It's all right there before Tanner Gray. And all he really needs to do is just keep up the consistency, and he'll be in the conversation for some big plans for Ford in the future. And then you've got Derek Kraus, who is a long shot. He's 52 points below the cutoff and is probably on the verge of being in a must-win situation. I mean, unless he can go out there and just get all of the stage wins you possibly could from now until the playoffs begin in July, then I think that he could make the playoffs. But it's pretty unrealistic with the way things are going right now. He has no top 5s to show for, but he has 2 top 10s, which is why he is in the conversation. Now, Derek Kraus is also a driver that has had a pretty big turnaround compared to his 2021 self. I mean, in 2021, the only thing Derek Kraus was really known for was being the daily competition caution. However, he has been slowly straying away from that moniker and is slowly turning into a driver that can be a consistent driver that is keeping his nose clean and is going out there and putting himself in pretty good situations. And then the last driver who could mathematically point his way into the playoffs is Matt DiBenedetto, who is 60 points underneath the cutoff. DiBenedetto's 2022 season has been far from memorable. He has only 4 top 10s to show for, and all of them really came in the first half of the chaotic season that the Truck Series has had thus far. And a lot of the races in the Truck Series season have been chaotic, and that's allowed Matt DiBenedetto to kind of sneak through all of this. DiBenedetto has had all sorts of bad luck. I mean, Bristol Dirt, he literally got stuck with another truck. That's the kind of bad luck that DiBenedetto has been having this 2022 season. I don't think he's really had a whole lot of speed. I think he's had a couple of top 10 trucks this season, but if he doesn't have a top 10 truck, he usually has a top 15 truck. He could be in a better position than he is now. He could probably have a bit more of a points buffer to the cutoff line, but I still think he would be out of the playoff cutoff, even if he had all of the luck going his way. DiBenedetto is on the verge of being in a must-win situation, but he's not in a must-win situation, at least not technically. However, some drivers are in a must-win situation, and so who are those drivers? Well, let's take a look at them. The first driver that is in a must-win situation is Tyler Ankrum. Ankrum, at least from my point of view, has had a terrible season. I had Ankrum making the playoffs way back when the Truck Series season started, but he's nowhere near playoff contention, unless he gets a win, of course. I think Tyler Ankrum has turned things around. I mean, he has 3 top 10s and looks to be on the up and up as of late. However, it's kind of too late for Tyler Ankrum, and at this point, he's going to need to get a win. And right now, that team has been far from winning pace. The team, if they are going to try and go and get the win, they're going to need to go for broke at this point, because right now, they don't even have top 10 speed, at least not top 10 speed consistently. And before they can really even think about wins, they need to think about top 5 speed, putting themselves in a position where they can think about wins. And before they sort that all out, by the time they sort all of that out, I think it'll be too late. So right now, Tyler Ankrum is really going to need to push the envelope, really going to need to push the issue, and go out there and go for broke. And there are some more drivers that have attempted all of the races this season that could go out there and win a race. I don't think guys like Timmy Hill, Austin Wayne Self, Colby Howard, Lawless Allen, or Tate Fogelman, I don't think any of them are going to win a race unless something crazy happens. And this is a truck series, so don't rule anything out. Jack Wood is in a GMS racing truck and has been flopping severely this season, but it is a GMS racing truck. They have the equipment, they have the resources to maybe put all of their eggs in the Jack Wood basket. So maybe if Grant Enfinger puts himself in a bit of a better position, they can focus all of their attention to Jack Wood and maybe help him go out there and get a win. You've also got a guy like Spencer Boyd, Chris Wright, Jesse Little, Dean Thompson. They could all put themselves in a situation where they could go out there and win a race. You've also got Hailie Deegan. Hailie Deegan has had a terrible season. I had Hailie Deegan being kind of a 13th to 17th place driver this season, but she's been a sub 25th place driver. It's been horrendous for Hailie Deegan. And for a driver that is currently in the talks of being Ford's future, this isn't what Ford wants in store. If Ford's future is with Hailie Deegan, they're going to be in a worse position than they really are right now with Riley Herbst. So the pressure's on Hailie Deegan. She needs to go out there and she needs to compete. I know she's made a lot of mistakes. I know she's had a lot of bad luck, but she needs to put all of that aside and really go out there and push the issue. Right now, her best bet is to win a race. That's the only way that she can salvage this 2022 season. And right now, things are very, very grim. If you're a Hailie Deegan fan, I would be very, very concerned. I think you already are concerned. I think you were concerned weeks prior to this video, but I think the concern is starting to ramp up a little bit more. So as I mentioned, some drivers are concerned. Some drivers are sweating. Some drivers are cool and calm as a cucumber and are not really thinking too much about whether they'll make the playoffs or not. So there are a lot of different agendas and a lot of drivers trying to pursue different things. And could that boil over and create chaos in the summer? I think so. It's the Truck Series after all, so anything is possible, and right now, don't rule out anything. There are drivers that we are not even talking about that could go out there, win a race, and spoil the entire party. And so, don't rule anything out in the Truck Series, but a lot of these drivers need to be really, really concerned as we move forward into the Truck Series playoffs. But these are just my opinions. This is just my outlook on things. So I want to know what your outlook is. What do you think the Truck Series grid is looking like right now? Do you think it's going to stay relatively the same? Or do you think there's going to be a lot of moving parts and pieces? Let me know in the comments section below. And until next time, this has been the news. I'll see you.